onebaptist.org/devotional is where you go to the Devo. I would encourage you to get it. Has the Psalms been reading to you as if you've just never read them before lately? I tell you, since we've done the 1 minute, and look, I do these every year. I read my Bible through every year, but I'm telling you, I don't know about you, but it's just been so rich what the Lord has been speaking to me, the fellowship that He and I have been having around His Word as we've entered this book, this song book of Psalms, this worship book, this book of praise, of which certainly comforts us. And yet, I don't know about you, but I have found that it challenges us, and in the challenge, it can convict us. But that's a good thing if we'll respond to the Lord speaking to us through His Word. Now, as we've talked to you before, you'll see in the book of Psalms, and maybe you never saw that before, but today's Devo, by the way, is rich in talking about it in the regards of how the book of Psalms is quite the prophetical book. You'll see that mentioned. In fact, every time you see that word Selah, in the past you've probably been told, well, that's a rest in music, and that means think on this for a while. And hey, that's cool. It is a rest in music, and do think on this for a while. But do know also that every time you see that word Selah in your reading of Psalms, and for that matter, it's mentioned in Habakkuk as well, just know that what you're reading that applied on that day historically is also going to apply on that day prophetically. And yet God, in only the way that He can do with His supernatural Word, He'll speak to you on this day in a very practical way of something that you need to hear personally, again, in those areas of comfort, challenge, or conviction. In the Christ Revealed section today, the section where we like to show you Jesus in the Old Testament, you'll see Him as the rock, the righteous judge, and I like this, as the speaker. Look at that verse and let that just cause you to rejoice. I almost did the 1 minute from Psalm 73 where Asaph, the psalmist who penned that particular psalm, is seeing the wicked prosper. We've all been there. We're wanting to know, man, I'm trying to live like this and I'm struggling, and they're over there not wanting to live for God at all, and yet they don't seem to be struggling at all. Do read the Devo on that. I wanted to speak to you about it, but the Devo does, so no need for me to just speak the same thing since you're going to read it, but it's going to be healthy for you. Along with all the other parts of the Devo, I want to concentrate the balance of my time on Psalm chapter 77. If you look there, will you look there? And as you do today, in fact, look at all of them now. Remember, the reading is Psalm 71 through 77. But in Psalm 77, in the verse 4, he says this. Have you ever been here? I am so troubled that I cannot speak. You ever been there? Isn't it encouraging for you to know that the psalmist, this is also Asaph, that the psalmist got to a place where he was so troubled and he could not speak? Now, there's an incredible prophetical application in reference to the second coming in the millennium. The Devo talks about that in Psalm 77. But practically speaking, I want you to see something in this psalm as God can personally address this trouble that perhaps right now you are in. Right now, you're facing. There's a time of darkness. You got trouble. Some arena, I don't even want to chase what arena that would be. But what do? Just know you're not the first one that's ever been there. The psalmist has been there. And the psalmist said, I'm so troubled that I cannot speak. But he says, I call to remembrance my song in the night. Listen, what is it that God has done with you? What is it that He's done for you? That's really your song. It's your life song as you look back. And maybe right now you need to remember about that. Asaph goes on to speak about, and of course it talks about for the children of Israel, all these wondrous works that the Lord did in the past. And every time he was rehearsing what God had done back there, he was reminded what God could do right then. And it reestablished his faith. He had hope, and God was all that He said He would be. He'll be the same for you. God bless.